Chapter 13. On the way to a betrothal. Before leaving Silchester, Bayard called Elund to see him. "Is my work unsatisfactory, sire?" Elund asked, when Bayard told her she could leave. "You may go free, with my thanks," Bayard told her. But Elund shook her head. "I agreed, because I thought I would find my brother at Camelot." Elund told Bayard he was going there to serve Prince Arthur. "I asked, but no one has heard his name. So I wish to remain in your court, sire, for Mercia is at the crossroads of all Albion. All news passes through your kingdom, as do many people, as does much trade. You speak wisely for a young boy. What is your name?" "Aled, sire." "Ah, the Briton who would remain in my service." He sensed she would say more and held up a hand. He was right. Elund was about to protest that she was safe through her father, and thus gave her another reason to stay. "And whom do you look for in my kingdom crossroads?" "His name is Lancelot," she told him. Bayard held her gaze for a moment, waiting for her to say something more. And Elund might have mentioned her safe father. But it felt safer to keep that to herself. "Well, Aled, you may remain in my service as long as you wish. But, remember, you may also leave when you will." "I would have anyway," Elund thought. Instead, she bowed her head to the king of Mercia and took her place beside the princess. Because, even though she had no idea who father could be, she felt it right to stay in Mercia. Besides, where would she even begin looking, knowing little of Saxon? The traveling merchant court had packed up, to travel west, to Cornwall. And Elund walked beside the royal carriage, hand on sword, to defend the princess, unaware of Bayard's eyes upon her. 88,888,888. The name of the ruler of the Cornish Britons, whose castle lay on a high cliff above powerful waves, was King Mark. It had taken the best part of a week for Bayard's company to get to his fortress, traveling through rich farmland and dense forest. It had been the third day of very pleasant walking when Aneurin nudged Elund and pointed out there was a change in language. Though the Say that lived in the western part of Wessex sounded similar to the Britons, when the farmland became more hill and the hills became more wild, so the people began to speak the Briton language. "King Mark is a Briton?" Elund asked Aneurin, surprised. "I would have thought Bayard and the other Say kings would want to marry their sons and daughters of other Say kings." "It's not like that at all," Aneurin told Elund. "By marrying Innes into the Briton line he is making the Say claim on the land. Like some of Queen Scylla's ladies, those that are married are Britons from all over the land married to Say knights. They come not by force but by trade," Elund murmured, remembering something her father, her uncle, used to say. Integration was more effective than brute force. And her mind drifted to her own mother, Illyri, and her unknown Say father. "What?" Aneurin asked, passing Elund some of the meat the guards were cooking over the fire. Elund didn't want to know what it must be, out so remotely as they were. "It was something my uncle said," Elund told him. "Trade is respectable, better to sell you something than kill you. Because if you trade your customer might come back." Aneurin laughed, his black hair blowing in the sudden breeze. "Say, now," he warned, as a couple more of the guards sat down at the fire. Elund nodded. It was better for them, safer, to speak Saxon, better than declaring they were Britons. Such amnesty as had been shown when Bayard brought his servants to Camelot and potentially would have continued, had it not been for the poisoning incident. "You, and you," the captain called from behind the two friends. "Washhouse." Now 88,888,888. "I heard a rumor," Aneurin told Elund, as they began on the royal laundry. "Yes, that the Say better tolerate the Britons who practice magic." He scrubbed at a cloak, dirty with mud at the hem, using fern soap. "That doesn't surprise me," Elund told him. "Arthur became Christian, then outlawed magic. The Say believe in a whole range of gods, like the non-Christian Britons." She took the cloak, blew, one of Bayard's lords she guessed, and rinsed it in cold water to remove the surfactant. "So," Aneurin told her, switching to Cymraeg, "were you a king and you were to discover that you had fathered a child that was not the queen's, would you place it with a family who is Christian, or pagan?" Elund looked at her friend, pausing in her rinsing. "Logically, pagan," she told him. "But that isn't the point you are making, is it?" Aneurin shook his head, looking away as the Say captain, Edmund, strode their way. A child of Bayard's was sent to live with pagan Britons, he told Elund quickly, in Cymraeg, before switching back to say and handing her another cloak for rinsing. 3 more, then they're done, he added, and nodded at the guard captain. You were placed in a pagan Briton village, Elund told her friend. Where did you hear this? Right after you spoke to the king, last night, Aneurin whispered to Elund. But, I don't think it's me. A hidden royal child, Elund thought, as she took up the last cloak. When you've quite finished, Edmund the captain's voice filtered across from where the arms were being stored. There are vegetables to peel. 88,888,888. It was one of King Bayard's knights who greeted the careworn stranger late one night. A stranger, yes, but defender of Amwythig, for he had killed a beast that had been terrorizing the surrounding villages. I am a mercenary, the man told the mercen knight. I was on my way to Lot's kingdom, for I had heard he had need of men to fight the Picts. My king would happily employ you, of this I am certain, Hayard the knight told the mercenary. He is away with his family to a betrothal. The man, dark-haired, swarthy of complexion, nodded shyly at the news, and turned to go. Wait, Hayard called. If you will not stay, would you spend the night? Eat some of Mercia's food that, through your selfless action you helped to defend? It was then that the mercenary's eye rested on a lady. Though he had feelings of affection for Guinevere, and she had reciprocated those feelings, he knew then that he had fallen in love with the woman he wanted to spend the rest of his life with. That lady? Seren told Lancelot as he sat for supper. She is leaving, to her husband's lands shortly. She is married? The mercenary replied, disappointment filling his stomach. Not anymore. Her husband, Thalist, died at the Battle of Rati. She has inherited his lands and will live there until a suitable lord can be found. Seren dipped her head. Not bad for a lady of the Britons. A Britian lady, the mercenary thought. With eyes as bright as forget-me-nots and skin as clear as the sky in midsummer. As the evening drew to a close, and the ladies got to their feet to desert the room, Lancelot followed, and secured a place beside the Lady Elaine as she went north, to Lothian, to a place that would one day be known as Joyous Gard.